Hello and welcome back to IT Performance. Today I'm going around to see Safa. He has a new machine from a company here in New Zealand called pbtech. He runs a Twitch channel, so I'll put the link to his channel in the comments below and maybe even up on the screen here. So come along, let's have a look at this machine from pbtech, see how well it's built, see how well it goes, run a few little tests on it and do a little bit of a comparison with mine, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I'm here at a friend's place who has just purchased a machine from pbtech. And I'm going to have a wee look at it. He's a streamer, plays League of Legends and Rust.
We'll be playing Rust
soon, and streams it on his Twitch channel.
Correct.
And I'll put a link to that in the description below. All right, so let's take this. This machine doesn't look too bad. Quite nice. A nice case, black case with a couple of red lights at the front and a red LED around the CPU fan, tempered glass side. The build is very tidy from what I can see. Let's get the side off so we don't get so much reflection. So one thing that impresses me is, you'll see in the middle here, a brace that supports the back end of the video card to stop any sort of video card sag. That is the first time I've ever seen anything like that in a case. But hey, I may be just sheltered. AMD CPU, as if you couldn't tell by the big AMD, and a Gigabyte GTX 1660 GPU. And I'll put some specs on the build of this because this is a pre-built machine from pbtech, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
On the top here we have a couple of USB 3 connections. Well, that's what the colored is, the power reset. Mic and headphone jacks. Now, on the back here, that screw is not screwed in all the way. But that one is. Okay, so I have had to use a screwdriver to start these off. Ooh. Okay, now the great reveal. Ta-da! Not bad. Plenty of room under the bottom to hide cabling out of sight, and then route it up to the bits and pieces that it needs to be routed to. So in the back there we have hard drive space, and it looks like there's some spare space where we can put another hard drive, should we so desire.
Just for the David?
The cables going up there are pretty tidy, out of the way. There's a big clump of cables down here with all the power and everything all in one big bundle. and then a bit of a loop here. Where does that go to? Oh, okay. That goes to the GPU, the video card, and that goes up to the motherboard up the top. And motherboard on the side. Is there any other way to put the hard drive in? Okay, so we've pulled the front off. Pulled the front off the case because we want to fit another hard drive into the machine. And the front just pulls off, clips down the sides into the clips on the front of the case, so it just pulls off. Came off relatively easily. Now, what we have discovered is, so the hard drive just mounts into a bracket that slides in the front, so you have to take the front off. Can't go in through the side. That's fine. But what we've discovered, and it's I'm quite impressed actually, is pbtech seem to have run a spare data cable for the hard drive, so that all you need to do technically to install a new hard drive, you don't need to take either side off, although we've got that one off at the moment, is just pull the front off, which comes off easily, take the bracket out, mount the drive in there, and then connect it up. So hopefully that extra data cable will be cabled back to the motherboard. It should be. I don't see why it wouldn't. Making the upgrade path extremely easy.
Now, I spoke to them a week ago about this and said that I was only looking at potentially buying. In your experience, you say it's not normal for... I mean, for power cable it would be normal, but for an extra data cable it's not normal. Do you think all of the metallic gear cases come like this, or do you think that pbtech have pre-wired all their pre-builds like this, or is this just a one-off? Or
I really don't know. It's not a metallic gear thing. It's definitely a pbtech thing, because they're the ones that have run the cables. The case doesn't come with either of these cables, actually. The power comes with the power supply, which is additional.
Yeah.
And the data cable comes with the motherboard.
So it's pbtech that's run the extra data cable, and power cable, like I say, is easy enough, but the extra data cable for upgrading the hard drive themselves.
Yep. Adding an extra hard drive, which I must say I didn't expect from pbtech.
So it's made your trip over here a little bit easier, you'd say.
It has. Very good. Let's turn this on. Oh, look. Now the question is, if the little light LED thing up the top here changes the colours, does it change the colour on the CPU fan?
I'm going to say, since you were slightly impressed by pbtech's prior arrangement with the external SSD, I'm going to say yes, it does. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be upset because I like the red. However, if it does, it'll be another little tick in the yellow box.
Now, I can see 2 SATA cables plugged into the motherboard there. So, well done, pbtech. I get a lot of my stuff there anyway.
I'll be going back to the same dude, Rex Lou at pbtech in Albany.
Oh, you got it from Albany?
Got it from the Albany branch, yeah, the new one that just opened up.
Yeah.
Yep, and I must say I was very impressed with his customer service, as well as my knowledge of obviously computer stuff, as you know, Dave, is limited to say the least. He was quite happy to try and find me a PC that suited my needs, as opposed to other places whose names I shall not reveal, but have sort of pushed me towards the more higher end things, even though Rex turned around and said, look, if something's overkill for what you need, I'm going to let you know straight to your face that it's overkill and you don't need it. So I was quite happy with the way that he did it.
Oh, good. Do you want to play with the lights?
They do not.
The front is turned to, yeah.
Yeah. But that's fine with me. Oh, that's green.
It is green. It's not. It doesn't show as green on the camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably because of your...
Nope.
No, that's... Oh, no. Well, it is sort of going like a tealy colour now. The blue shows up. The white's alright. Ooh, that's dirty. I'm leaving it at that. I'm actually leaving it at red and blue like that. That's filthy. That's awesome.
Cool.
I'm not even upset anymore now that it doesn't change the AMD lights.
That's fine. AV sync. Close, and then up the top here we click on benchmark. Then it runs through the whole suite. It's got a number of different scenes that it basically flies through. Up here it shows the frames per second, as well as over there it's got its own built-in frames per second counter.
Yeah.
Says your video card, it's the speed, it's temperature. So at the moment it's saying that the temperature's 54, 55 degrees on the video card. Down on the bottom here we've got the frame rates, frames per second again, how many frames it's done, the minimum and maximum frames per second, and which scene it's up to. So 6 of 26 at the moment. And that's the afterburner stats.
So if this was, let's hypothetically say, an older computer, it wouldn't be able to run smoothly like this at full settings.
Correct.
It would obviously be stuttering and skipping frames and...
Yeah. That's nice. That doesn't have anti-aliasing on. Aliasing? Aliasing? What?
That one.
Anti-something rather, the smoothing. At the moment. Not sure whether I test mine with that on or not. And so what you can do is just, instead of doing the benchmarking, if you just want to test how hot it's going to get, just start it up and just leave it running for half an hour. Okay. And so that'll let temperatures even out. The GPU temperature's up to 62 degrees at the moment.
What's the average?
CPU's not doing much. CPU doesn't get tested a lot on this test. This is mainly a graphics one. Your CPU's still only 31 degrees. It's only got like 7%, 8% utilization, whereas the video card's up at 97%, 98%.
Which is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. So this one is a pure graphics test.
Okay.
How much RAM does the system have?
Without putting the box down, I'll quickly check. Because I remember sending you the specs of it.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's 16.
Right, and then it gives you a rundown of the benchmark, how the benchmark went. Minimum frames per second, 9.2. Max, 233.9.
6GB graphics card. And 16GB of RAM.
Good.
So a score of 2975.
Yeah.
To be honest, I have no idea what that means.
So you can save that or close it, or change the settings. So turn on anti-aliasing, and then run it again and see if that has a performance hit on it.
Because that's supposed to make it even smoother.
Yeah, it's meant to smooth out the edges.
Okay, so it'll be obviously taking more toll on the graphics card.
Yeah. So your overall frames per second should drop.
Okay.
And because your video card's should be doing more work, it should get to its maximum temp quicker. So it's up to 60 degrees. But the frames per second at the moment are up around 70. So it's still doing a good job.
Because what was it at earlier? It was
Up over 100. Yeah, like League of Legends isn't taxing on your
nonsense
video
and
card at all.
moves, just horrible at the game.
Right. So this is finished.
Oh, yeah?
Frame rates have dropped,
Yep.
understandably.
Because they will be.
The score has dropped, but that's with 8 times anti-aliasing on, which would obviously cause a performance hit. So that's not bad.
GPU is at 62 degrees.
And the GPU is at 62 degrees. And it hasn't gone above that.
No.
So I would say, and that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Oh, sweet. Perfect. I was one happy chappy with my buy.
Yeah. So the next one is we'll run out a couple of CPU tests.
Sweet.
And so here's the graph of what was going on during that test. So you can see the GPU temperatures up to 63 degrees, down to, that's at the end before we ramped it up again. And there you can see the GPU usage spiking, getting up to 98% usage and dropping in between, and it's dropped back down. And of course CPU usage is just
Minimal.
pot along at 6, 7, 9%, and the temperature hasn't got over 30 degrees. So that's cool. That's fine. That's not a problem at all. So the next one, let's see how we go with this, is Cinebench.
And this will be...
This tests the CPU.
Okay.
Accept that. So this is a Ryzen 7 2700 8-core processor with hyperthreading. It's not Windows 8. It is in fact Windows 10, 64-bit. And that gives you a couple of comparison scores down the bottom here.
Okay.
Of other CPUs. None of these CPUs are actually the same as yours.
I can see the word Intel on all of them.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that Rex said he prefers for gaming and streaming and stuff. He prefers the AMD over the Intel.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, the Ryzen. Reckons they're better for it.
prefers the AMD over Intel. That's an interesting comment.
I take it you don't agree?
Most people prefer Intel for gaming because
really?
they have higher clock frequencies, so it gives better frames per second. But if you, depending on what games you're playing,
Yeah, fair enough.
then sometimes it's and a lot of games don't run on any more than 4 threads. So having a 16-core CPU over an 8-core CPU, threaded CPU, there's no difference for the gaming. For the game.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so let's run the CPU test. And I have some results on my CPU on my machine back home from this exact same test, so it'll be good to do a comparison. But you can see each one of these boxes is a thread being performed. I would say yours will probably cream mine. It's a newer CPU. I've only got 8 threads on mine.
Okay.
It's a 4-core with hyper-threading, so 8 threads max. And look at you. Look at you. Your Ryzen blew the others out of the water.
Told you.
I really can't remember what scores I've got. We'll have a look. And then there's an OpenGL test that does a basic test on your video card.
But we've already done that on the benchmark, correct?
Yes.
You say the benchmark is definitely a better one to test it on than this, or?
Well, basically, if you're going to benchmark something and test something, depends on what you're testing. But it's always, if you're testing performance of the card, always, as much as possible, use the same tests from machine to machine, so then you get a gauge of how each how well the card performs versus the other one. Okay. If you're doing stress testing, then it doesn't really matter if you're getting the stresses that you want. Yeah. Just like if you're testing temperature and things like that, then just throw on something that's going to ramp up the utilization. See that there? Maximum file size 4 gig has been reached.
So luckily you finished the test there.
Yeah.
Before it cut out.
And then so up here it's got 102 frames per second. GeForce and 102. So that just means it's better than some of these other cards.
Yeah. Plain and simple.
Yeah. And that's about it.
Cool.
Sometimes you would run, if you're trying to get a gauge, if you're doing some comparison testing, you will run the test about 3 or 4 times, well, more than 3, maybe 10, 20 times, because you will get fluctuations in the score.
Yeah.
And then you sort of average it out. And then you can say, well, my top score was this, my lowest score was this, but I got an average of this.
Oh, okay, so you run it 10 times and then you divide it by 10.
Yeah, pretty much.
The average score.
Yep. That's definitely faster than mine. So there we have it. Well, thank you for that. This is actually my first touch of a new AMD CPU powered system.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
The last time I touched one, it was on a laptop with a APU, which was a piece of shit. To be honest. And before that, I had an AMD powered machine back in the 486 era of PCs.
Oh.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay, here we are back home again. Hope you enjoyed the video. The speed of that AMD was quite impressive, I must say. I will definitely keep that in mind the next time I want to do an upgrade. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Go over and check out Safa's Twitch channel. And I hope you see me again next time. Okay, cheers. Bye. And then you can play with the lights.